All right. Welcome. Cesar Mascoro Jr. with Manufactured Home Sales Mastery. And with our 15 minutes of mastery that we do just about every single day to get you some information, inspiration, and motivation so that you can go out and attack the day. And look, we know that as of late, it's gotten later and later when we started these, but we've just had a whole bunch of business going on in the mornings. And man, part of me wants to pre-record these things, and I've done them in the past, but it's just not the same thing. But anyway, we got to come up with some sort of way so you know exactly when this is coming out. So we may get to pre-recording these and putting them out there more consistently. But listen, episode number 472, we're talking about the day that I had yesterday. Oh my gosh, it just was all over the place. And so I want to talk about that. What to do when you're just not feeling it, man. It sounds strange to say, right? How can somebody that is trying to accomplish big things, how can somebody that's running a business, how can you afford to have those days where you just don't feel like it? But you can't, but it doesn't mean you won't have them, right? Gary Keller writes, success is actually a short race, a sprint fueled by discipline, just long enough for habit to kick in and take over. And that's about right. You got to get the discipline to kick in, man. Yeah, I'm telling you, yesterday was rough, man. I'm just was fighting it just about all day. I would get into some stuff, and then my head would go somewhere else, and I'd reel myself back in and go back into whatever I was doing, and then something else happened. Something else popped up. I just felt like I could not get fully on track like I am most days. I'm sure it's happened to you as well, and it's stressful. It sucks to be in that situation. Yesterday just did not feel good at all. I spoke to my wife. I told her, look, I just don't feel like I got anything done today, and the reality of it is I didn't really until probably later on in the afternoon. But what do you do in those days? Why does that even happen? Why do we get in those funks where we just aren't feeling it, where we're just not able to get through and accomplish the things that we had lined out to get done, man? And it could be a whole variety of reasons, okay? And we're going to get into those as we go along, but because most people will let themselves get guided by emotions, by their feelings, as opposed to being guided by the reality of what has to happen, what has to occur, right? And I can give you so many different examples of that, not just in business, not just in sales. I mean, it could be as far as just dealing with friends, dealing with just anything you got going on in life. You could get so wrapped up in the emotion of it that you're not objectively looking at it. And it could take you down a rabbit hole. And next thing you know, man, you're there for the whole day, or sometimes, God forbid, sometimes you're in it for several days. I've had that happen, in my life prior to, and it would keep me wrapped up for what seemed weeks. And I couldn't understand why I would let myself do that. But as I've grown and as I've gotten into moving forward in my business and in life, I've come to understand, like, man, I really have to be in control of up here and in here, right? I've got to be in control of my emotions. I got to be in control of what's guiding me, where my focus is going, because it's easy to get wrapped up in everything else, whether it's a relationship, whether it's the friends, whether it's family. Sometimes family is putting the pressure on you, it's customers, everything, right? But if you're not in control and if you're not guided by something bigger, you're going to get off track more times than not. You're going to allow yourself to fall off the wagon, so to speak, and break your productivity. And I'm here to tell you, look, you can't afford to have that happen, especially for those of you out there selling. You can't afford, you can't afford to go through a day where you're not getting things done. You need to get that you're not getting marketing done, that you're not making phone calls, that you're not setting appointments. You can't afford to have those types of days. You can't afford to have the days where you're not pushing through on files, where you're not getting the conditions cleared on these deals, because as we all know, time kills deals, right? And because you're wrapped up in all of this, whatever it is, whether it's social media distracting you, whether it's the TV, whether it's just thoughts, you can't afford to get lost in that and not be productive. Now, look, again, there will be those days that happens, but that should be few and far between. And I know for a fact, because I have been there, I know for a fact that some of us have allowed it to go on for days, if not weeks. You carry it with you still in some sort of way, and you're thinking about, oh, this so-and-so did that, and I can't believe that this happened. And it's just like, man, stop already, right? But why is it that we need to be able to recognize when that happens? Because that's an important part. Are you even aware that it's happening to you? Are you aware that you're not getting the things done? Are you aware of the fact that you're allowing yourself to lose that focus? Or are you so wrapped up in the emotion of it that you're not even paying attention to the fact that you're not getting the things done that need to get done until that comes to a head? And now you're feeling that pressure, that stress. Because one thing I've come to recognize is this: we feel anxiety. We feel the anxiety and nervousness most times because we haven't done what we should have been doing. Okay? Let me help you understand what I mean by that. You're coming right now, it's the 18th of February, right? So 18th of February. It's a short month. You got 10 days left in this month. Some of you have not delivered a house yet. Some of you have not gotten paid yet. Some of you know that you're not going to have a home delivered and funded within the next 10 days. And you're going to start feeling the stress. You're going to start feeling the pressure. Oh my God, I'm not making any money. I'm not going to have any money coming in this week. Maybe you're on a draw. Maybe you're on a salary, whatever it may be. I'm just going to get this little bit, but it's not enough to cover my bills. And oh my God, what's going to happen? And you're so wrapped up in this moment right now. But what you didn't do is you didn't notice that 2-3 months ago, you weren't focused and you weren't doing the things that you needed to be doing in order to have February be a month that provides for you the way that you needed to. See, what's happening right now in February is not because of what you did right now in February. What's happening right now in February or next month in March, if you know you're not going to be delivered, or maybe last month sucked for you in January, what's happening right now is because of what you did or didn't do 3 months ago, 4 months ago, however long the turnaround time and the build time is on the homes that you carry. See, that's when you should have been aware of what was going on. And that's why you can't afford to have it be a day, but even more so 2 days, 3 days, a week. You can't let yourself get wrapped up in those things. And I get it. Look, some people go through some terrible things in life, loss of loved ones and things. Man, I am not being insensitive to that fact. But the reality of it is this: if you allow yourself to go into that place where you lose control of your emotions and your actions, and you get into those days where you're just not feeling it and you let it carry on beyond that, it's going to affect you. It's going to affect your livelihood. In those months where right now that we own this business and we're building out Manufactured Home Sales Mastery, and there's been those months, where it didn't go as we would like to, man, it had everything to do with whatever I did or didn't get done before that. And so the great thing about it, what I can tell you personally in my case, is this: yesterday was one of those days for me. Today is not one of those days. Even last night was not one of those days. Yesterday afternoon was not. I was able to bust myself as hard as it was to break through and actually get some stuff done and get things accomplished, I had to push through. I wouldn't have done that years ago. I would not have done that 5, 6, 8 years ago. That, or especially not beyond that. I would have just blown off today, and then God knows what would have happened today. You've got to push through, because just like the quote said, you've got to let the discipline build the habit that takes over. Let me say that to you again. You've got to build the discipline. You got to have the discipline to build the habit of pushing through, so that that takes over in those moments. So a lot of times the reason why this happens to us is because we don't have a clear and defined vision and plan of what we're after. We're just going with the flow. We're kind of winging it. We're shooting from the hip. We're just reacting to everything instead of being on the offense. I just got off a call with a brand new client that we're about to pick up. But hopefully today we'll get that wrapped up. And that was one of the things we were talking about. And I was, you know what, I'm gonna toot my own horn here for a little bit. Okay. They brought something up in the call, and they said, you know what, Caesar, we know that our team is lacking something. They're lacking the direction that even you not only talk about that, but what you live by, because your emails and your messages and everything that you do with us is exactly the tone that you say that our salespeople need to have. In other words, I'm very intentional with the things that I'm doing. I guide people along the route that I need them to go down. And it's a route that I need them to go down so they can help themselves. So like I told them, hey, I'm glad you noticed that. But the beautiful thing about it is this: we make this work, it's going to benefit you. So anything that I'm bringing to you is just to benefit you and your company. And it's the same thing with you folks, being intentional and actually guiding people and telling them, no, this is the way it's going to go, right? Hey, or being purposeful in the way you speak to people. Oh, well, I don't want to seem pushy. You're not being pushy. You're not being pushy. You're simply making sure that they stay on the track that they need to be on, so that they can accomplish what they need to get accomplished, what's going to benefit them. If you feel that you're being pushy, you're letting yourself down, and more importantly, you're letting them down, because they're not going to do it. You have to make them do what they already wanted to get done in the first place, right? So it takes that intentionality. So we're going to run down this list real quick, because I had to jump on another training call right now. So here are the top 5 things you need to do to avoid having those not feeling it type of days. You have to understand your purpose in life or business, preferably both. What is your purpose? What is your after? What are you trying to get accomplished? What is the bigger deal beyond you, right? Then you've got to be clear on your long-term goals, not just this year, not just 2025, not just February, not just Q1, but 5 years from now. Where do you see yourself? What is it you're trying to get accomplished? What are you trying to do? What are we trying to do as a company 5 years from now? Man, I'm constantly thinking, hey, this is where we need to go. This is where we need to be. This is what we're going to develop into. Right? Because I got to have that long-term vision, because if I'm just looking at right now, we're always going to be struggling. We're always going to be struggling. Next, you have to have a daily plan of action to accomplish those goals. The long-term has to be in bite-sized chunks, but you've got to have that set up and in place. So understand your purpose, understand your long-term goals, and understand your daily plan of action. But sometimes you just need to have that support network. You need to have that support network of people that are going to kick you in the butt, that you can, like I called my wife, I'm like, I'm just not feeling it today. Something's, when you take it one step at a time, and it's those people that will remind you of, hey, you still got to get it done. Right. I know it rubs my wife the wrong way sometimes when I tell her as well, like, hey, it's just the reality of life. Right. And sometimes I need that told to me as well. Things aren't fair. It's not always going to be fair. I told my wife last night, you got to get rid of that word in your vocabulary, because life ain't fair, right? She's probably watching right now. Love you, babe, but life's not fair. Anyway, have a support network. And lastly, you need to be honest with yourself. When you're having those days, when you're not getting it done, when you know you've got to have a heightened sense of awareness of knowing Am I getting the stuff done, or am I freaking putting it off? Am I blowing it off? Am I not doing the things I need to be doing? And if so, slap yourself in the face, let somebody else slap you, and get back on track. That is how you can avoid having those days where you're just not feeling it. Look, folks, and if you want to be a part of something bigger, go to our website, manufacturedhomesalesmastery.com, click on the Mastermind tab, and find out information on our Path to Mastery Collective. It's a networking group. We created a networking group for industry professionals, the manufacturing home industry, for you to join us. Let's all get together and let's push each other forward on to bigger and better things. Get the info, find out more about it. I know you're going to love being a part of it. Anyway, go to our website, but go out today and kick some butt. It's the 18th of February, man. 10 days left in the month, short month. Go make it happen. We'll be back in here tomorrow. Look, I'm flying out tomorrow to Chicago. We're going to Chicago. We're going to do training up there for the next few days. So if you're in Chicago, we'd love to meet with you. Reach out, send a message, let us know. All right. We'll be talking soon. Until then, folks, as always, can't wait to meet you.